Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we have a Start Collecting Warhammer 40,000 video for you, and today we're going to be looking at one of the mini Christmas Battle Force boxes that's coming out this weekend. Games Workshop release these Battle Force boxes every year around Christmas time as a great way to get into the game for new hobbyists or get a bunch of brand new models for an experienced collector. These boxes generally come with a decent discount, around about 30%, and you can get a little bit extra off that if you go through your local friendly game store, which will generally give you a discount, or some friendly local retailers as well. Now, my local store, for instance, Dragon's Lair Salisbury, generally knocks off a bit on every Games Workshop purchase, so these can be a really great buy if you've got a store that does a discount or can find a good online retailer as well. And if not, they're great from Games Workshop themselves because they're still saving you some money. So today we're going to talk about the Start Collecting box, or rather the Battle Force box for the Death Guard called the Plaguefester Warband. In this video we're going to talk first about what exactly we get inside this box, what are Death Guard, what do they do, what do they give us on the tabletop. We'll then look at all the units individually and what they bring to the table, and finally we'll finish off the video with a little sample army list for you. And so, to start us off, what are Death Guard? What do they bring to the table? Well, for starters, Death Guard are resilient. They're one of the original Space Marine legions. They're one of the ones that ended up turning to chaos, and their whole shtick was sort of like trench warfare, grinding sort of battles where they just sort of overwhelmed the enemy, didn't really care for losses, just sort of moved in that immovable sort of object eventually coming towards you, and it was going to take your position regardless of what you did. That's sort of what the Death Guard are all about. And so with this, you get a pretty resilient army. They've got some abilities to get some cool invulnerable saves on their stuff. They've generally got pretty high toughness, lots of wounds, a good solid force to really just take a pounding. And of course, they are Space Marines as well. So this means they get all the benefits that come along with being Space Marines and generally being good in pretty much every facet of the game. However, a lot of Death Guard units generally tend to be either close to mid-range for their troops at least. They've got a bunch of specialized flamer weapons, and they generally have that sort of equipment with some cool grenades called Blight grenades and other versions of some weapons as well. Mostly close combat with their giant axes, their plague flails, and other cool weaponry. And then what's cool about this though is their artillery, their tanks provide some really great long-range firepower support to the army. So meanwhile, while your troops are in sort of the grind of combat and close quarters shooting warfare, you're managing to get your tanks like a Playburst Crawler from the backfield to really hail down and pin your opponent in place. This army really does play exactly as you would think. You've got, the ability to pin opponents down with some good firepower from range from your artillery. Meanwhile, you're moving up in the trenches, in the close combat with your opponents with some really tough units. Anyway, with that said, let's go have a look at what exactly we get inside this box set. And so, what exactly do we get inside this box set? Well, for starters, we get a Plague Marine Champion, an Icon Bearer. These are two individual models that actually get added to your Plague Marine squad, and you do get 7 Plague Marines inside this initial box set with a variety of different weapon options. So, for starters, we've got the Plague Marine Champion. You can see that pictured top left. He's got a Power Fist, and then we've got the Icon Bearer as well, which gives us another cool ability for the unit to have alongside with the other abilities we're already going to get thanks to being just in general Plague Marines. So we're going to get the Icon of Despair, where in your morale phase, roll a d6 for each enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer's unit. On a 4+, the enemy suffers a mortal wound. So the ability just to pump out some mortal wounds from our enemies just being near us is pretty sweet. And then, of course, we've got the 7 Plague Marines. These guys have a variety of different weapons. From one of them holding the Sigil of Decay, where each time an attack made with a bolt weapon by a model in the bearer's unit rolls a 6 to hit, it automatically wounds the target, to having some of their cool specialized weaponry like the Plague Spear and Plague Belcher, heavy weapons that are assault or heavy d6 and do some decent damage, to bolt guns, to axes and flails, and a whole bunch of variety of different combat weapons. This unit can be really tooled up, and there are some really fantastic, unique individual models. This is an absolute painter's dream, this unit here. Next, we have the Death Shroud Terminators. These are a fantastic unit. You can see them pictured on the bottom right of the top 6. They're just a really tough bodyguard unit for your characters. They can really hit out some decent amount in combat. They're amazing with their toughness 5 and 3 wounds. The fact they've got an invulnerable save as well. The Man Reaper's Size puts some decent power into them, and also potentially get some extra hits out of them when each time the attack is made with this weapon, make 2 hit rolls instead of 1, which is really nice. Just got a cool, good close combat tough unit here in your Death Shroud Terminators. Next, we have the Mephitic Blight Haulers. These are really fun and useful and pretty devastating, in all honesty, fast attack option that can put out a decent amount of firepower. For starters, each one of these has already got its Bile-Spurt ability, a missile launcher, and a multi-melter standard. So they've got a ton of firepower coming out of these small little firing platforms. They're demons, so this means they're going to get an invulnerable save, which is really nice. They've got Disgustingly Resilient as well, where each time an attack is allocated to a model in this unit, you subtract 1 from the damage. They're pretty little tough for these nice, cheap little, pseudo-tanks that they are. And lastly, we have the Playburst Crawler, a great heavy artillery piece, where the entropy cannon's got a nice 36-inch range at strength 8, AP -4, damage D3 +3 with the plague weapon rule. Disgustingly Resilient and Demonic on it for a 5-up invulnerable on your tank is pretty sweet. The fact that it sort of negates damage as well is really solid as well. But where do we go to next? Well, first of all, I would strongly suggest picking up the Plague Marine expansion squad. This is just going to give you the options to really just play around that squad and actually get a legal unit out of it. You're going to want at least 2 of the bolt guns in there originally with the list we're planning, mainly because you can't use both special weapons shown in that initial box without having a full 10-man squad, so definitely need that. And you're going to need to pick up a hero as well. So for the hero, I've gone for the Lord of Virulence. So Lord of Virulence has some cool abilities. First of all, he's Lord of the Death Guard, so he puts out an aura ability where core units around him are going to reroll hit rolls of 1 with their attacks. He's got Disgustingly Resilient and a 4+ invulnerable thanks to his Terminator armor. The Master of Destruction aura as well, where he's got 1 Plague Company core unit that's within 6 inch of him. Each time from a model from that unit makes a ranged attack with Plague Weapon on the modified roll of a 6. Improve the armor penetration of that attack by 1. Pretty nice. And he's also got his own cool little twin plague spewer cannon as well. At strength 5, -1 AP, damage 1, but it's a heavy 2d6, so it can definitely help sort of wreak havoc upon some hordes there with the rest of your force. He's a really solid addition, and all of this does bring you to a pretty decent solid points. This is one of the more expensive of the battle forces out this year, so you get a lot out of this box set. And so, lastly, here we have a little sample army list. So, we've got our Lord of Virulence in there to start off with. He's going to be our HQ unit for the army. And we've got a couple of points spare, so you could definitely take one of the deadly pathogens with him. You've got some 10-point costing ones in there that definitely will fit inside your army list. Then we're going to take our Plague Marine squad. So we're taking the Plague Champion with Plaguefester, and as mentioned, 2 Plague Marines with bolt guns. Then got a Bubonic Axe, a Flail, Icon, 1 Plague Spear, a Sigil, and a Plague Belcher all in the squad, giving us a variety of different weapon options. This unit's going to be really good at sort of close range to medium range with all its weapons, which is going to be super fun. Next, we're only taking 2 of the Mephitic Blight Haulers because we can't actually fit the 3rd one in. So, like I said, this has a lot of points potential inside this initial box. If you wanted to pick up something, I guess, after picking up the character and the extra Plague Marines, I'd go build another Plague Marine squad as well. There'd be a definite way to get some more out of your force and probably another hero. But for the Blight Haulers, we've decided to keep them separate. I feel you just get more out of them keeping them separate. It's not going to break any of your army building restrictions that you're going to have due to only having 1 troops with 2 fast attack. But you could definitely use them as the same unit if you want to sort of combine firepower, but I think you're running 2 single units of 1. This is going to give you the ability to move around the table more and really sort of get the firepower where you need it. And lastly, we've got our Playburst Crawler with the entropy cannons and the heavy slugger on it for some great long-range fire support to really help the rest of our troops. This is a pretty fun army, and like I said, you get a lot out of this box. It really is probably my favourite one from the 40k section, maybe second only to the Necron one, but I really enjoy this. If you're playing with Plague Marines on Death Guard in particular in the edition of Warhammer 40k, let us know how you're going, let us know what you do with this box, leave it in the comments below please. Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and drop us a comment below about what you enjoyed with the video. Also, if you'd like to chat more with me and other members of our fine little community here at Cinderful Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the description of the video to our Discord server. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel more, you can do so either by Patreon or YouTube members, and you can get yourself access with YouTube members to some cool little emojis in our live streams, or you can get access to helping us decide what content we're going to do on the channel next with a few little votes we do for our Patreon and YouTube members. Also, if you're a Patreon and YouTube member, we'd like to give you a shout out. So, a special shout out to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Caspawn, AJC, Kenny Lyle, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nielsen, JJ Austrian, and The Average Wargamer. And a shout out to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Kenty Young, Steve T, The Ruzier, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Vinny, Locklaric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, and Wolfric Nick. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel, and once again, if you'd like to help support the channel like all these fine people do, you can find the links to Patreon and YouTube members in the description of the video. Lastly, a special thanks first of all to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel you see here, and to Xmorphic, who does all the fantastic work running the background work for our Discord server. Thank you both for your amazing work helping the channel reach new heights. That's it for today, folks. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.